Well, Ayo, you know, I did tell you yesterday that it was a rainy morning, and really it rained most of the day, and it was a day we were expecting the African champions, the Super Falcons, on their return trip, their victorious trip back to Nigeria, where they were going to be received by the president. And something miraculous happened yesterday. I mean, in spite of all of the rains, at some point during the day, just right in the afternoon, as if even the weather knew that even the Super Falcons were coming home, the sun came out. It was just beautiful to watch. And I'm sure that they had a dry trip, a dry and sunny trip all the way to the presidential villa. So I think even the weather sometimes, you know, will celebrate you when you need to be celebrated. It was really beautiful watching what happened at the presidential villa, you know, showers of honors and cash, and it was just good to see that, you know, when people put in the work, they get the reward, and they are appreciated for the honor that they've done their country, their motherland. Was just beautiful to watch. I know you have a lot of comments, you know, from our guest who is currently in the studios in Lagos. So, Ayo, I'm going to ask you to take it away.
You know, the first thing that I want to ask him, as I would everyone, is something that the president said. I think the president and I must have been sitting in the same chair that day when he said he was afraid to watch the match for good reason. Because according to him, and this is what I always say as well, I'm watching my BP. But then we're thankful that, you know, all of that happened. And then from the very first announcement the president made, the first thing you would hear the girl singing was, "That's our father. We don't have another one. That's our father." Anyway, well, Mr. Wale Fatade is here with us in the studio. He is a journalist and a commissioning editor at The Conversation Africa. Thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Good to be here.
Did you watch that match?
I did.
Well,
I
the
did.
only thing that you reminded me of, because I didn't watch, I gotta be honest.
I did.
Okay, the only thing that it reminded me of was what we call, was it the Rwandan...
Daman Miracle.
The Daman Miracle.
1988.
Yes, when we went from, was it 3-0?
4-0.
4-0.
Down to 4-4.
Down to, up to 4-4, and then we won by penalties. Yeah. That's what it
reminded me of. That was in Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
The Flying Eagles then, as it was called. I
yes.
remember, it was a Saturday. Now, I gave up at a point. But I remember my son, and he'll be watching now, he said, "Daddy, you will still go back to eat." So I gave up. The other people, they left me in the house. I was the only one. I was jumping up and down, lamenting about Ashley. The defender, the right back, or the center back, from whom the 2 goals came. And I was saying, no, this is what Mr. Madugu should do come second half. And it's as if the man was spying my notes. He made those changes and then the score came. It was in the process of jubilating that my wife woke up, who does not like football at all, whether man or woman. And immediately the second goal got in. I told my son, I said, "We are winning this game, and it's not going to extra time." He said, "Do you mean?" I said, "Now these girls have energy. They have impetus to go and win it." And that was all happened.
Interesting.
Kudos to them. Congratulations to them.
Most certainly. You know, the president hailed it, the vice president hailed it, and all of that. But there's something that's already getting some people talking, and that is the reward. I remember there was a government, I don't remember which match it was that Nigeria won on a global or continental scale, and they made, the government of the day made announcements of things. I think it was in 1988.
Was it there have been many, or 1994, 1980, the Cup of Nations, the Green Eagles, that was hosted, the Shekwandegba generation, and Christian Chukwu.
Yes, I think they made some announcements to some, you know,
Felix Owolabi
and the rest of them. But then it didn't come, you know, for a long time. But let's not talk about whether or not it's going to...
But another one made in 94 just came this year or last year.
Anyway, let's talk about the rewards first before we talk about football.
For me, and I think the ladies or women perform excellently well. It's the giver that determines what he wants to give. We are not sitting in the seat of the president. But for me, the first thing should have been the president finding out whether there are other allowances have been paid. I think it was before the Zambian game, that was the semi-final game, or was it the South African game? I mean, Zambian game was the quarter-final, South Africa was the semi-final, that, excuse me, there was a threat that they were going to boycott the game because the allowances have not been paid. And so, in as much as the president did very well, I think there should have been that checks and balances of the NFF, as he paid all what he owes the Falcon players. That's one. Number two, remember, these are free sociolinguistics. The only thing I have grounds against was the president announcing those rewards in dollars. No. It seemed to perpetuate our dollarized economy. Fine, we know dollar is the global currency at certain level, but some people are resisting that. You will not find a Macron or a Starmer announcing anything that is not euros or British pounds.
Let's be clear. What the president said was
in naira equivalent.
But
then you should have just mentioned 1,000. I mean, 100,000. That's 15 million naira. By 1,500. As I was coming, I was asking a colleague who covers that area that what was the exchange rate yesterday, and he said it was 1,538 naira. So that's just about 15 million naira.
Are you sure it's 15 million naira or 150 million naira?
No, it's not up to that. Okay. Multiply 100,000 by it can.
Well, you know, I'm not good at my failed.
I'm not too, so I did it. That's why you and I are only at a certain level, but I did that. And so the total package, and I like some of our colleagues the way they reported it, was about 4.2, 4.5 billion naira for everything they have done. But I hope those things will come quickly, not when Rashida Dajibade, who by the way is from Osun State, we are proud of her.
You just have to say that.
I have to rub it in from Ichion in Osun State. I mean, not when she's now a grandmother, before the rewards will come. And I thank God the governors are pitching something too. I look forward to their state government.
I told you, it's 150 million naira. I just calculated it now. You failed maths.
I agree. I didn't deny. I hope their state governments will do better too. And I think this should make us to kickstart female football more. I mean, you rarely see girls playing football around the way you see boys. So if these have shown us that what that male team achieved last under the late Stephen Keshi, these ladies that they were not, even when they overran the periphery of likely winners, they were not rated. Well, most people tip South Africa or Morocco.
Anyway, while we are celebrating that, it's also that concern of the Lagos doctors' pay cuts. Even though we were supposed to have a conversation with one of them yesterday, we understand that the doctors employed by the Lagos State government condemned the salary reductions in July. And they were supposed to, I'm not sure.
What I learned was that it was reduced earlier in the year. It was reinstated. It was reduced again. And what is happening? That's all. So if you believe they deserve it, that's why you gave them before. Why withdrawing it? And doctors are in high demand everywhere. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Even the NHS doctors in England, they were on strike, asking for better pays, especially the junior doctors. So each professional reserves the right to negotiate his or her own wages.
One other rather disturbing discussion is this GMO conversation in Nigeria. My colleagues on the morning brief had a conversation yesterday with the DG of Nigeria's Biodiversity Agency. Yeah. And then this morning they hosted another fellow who, both of them are at variance. One is saying we cannot do without GMO in Nigeria. Another one, the one they hosted this morning, the DG.
Yeah, that must be the DG,
yes,
yeah.
And this morning, the professor, also a specialist in the field, who came said, look, no, I don't agree.
I align with the professor. Okay. And by the way, I took a degree in molecular biology, so I know these things. Nigerian government approved GMO foods in 2020 or 2022, I think. Ghana did last year, 2024. But then, earlier this week or late last week, I can't remember, but I remember reading that there are already protests in Kenya who approved GMO crops before either Nigeria, both Nigeria and Ghana, because the seeds are no longer available. The problem, for me, they've been telling us that without that, Africa cannot feed itself, Africa will go hungry, and then when you see what happened yesterday, East and Central African countries, they have been, the FAO just released a report, I think yesterday, that they are stemming, they are moving down into extreme hunger, just like the report they released about Nigeria about 2 weeks back too. Our problem is not that we can't feed ourselves. Our problem is we don't have access to the crops. Now, our problem for us in Nigeria, because of the Sahelian problem, is security. People cannot go to farms. And that actually moved down to the southwest, whereby we have problem with herdsmen dumping on cattle or goats, moving on people's farm, destroying farms. But the problem for GMO is this. GMO comes with a new seed, or new seeds rather, and that seed is not readily available. Farmers have to buy. And research has shown us that when the new seeds come, they dominate the old seeds or seedlings and exterminate them. And so farmers or growers now depend on the marketers that are selling the seeds. And that's a very dangerous thing. You who sell those seeds control your ability to feed people. I don't support GMO.
But each time we have this kind of conversation, the thing that comes to my mind is, I have been privileged to fly over parts of Nigeria, both by aeroplane and helicopter, and I have seen how green the land is.
We can farm.
I traveled from Lagos to Isheyin, where Oyo State has its what they call the Fashola.
Fashola has been on since the time of Wale.
Now,
so the old farm settlement.
Even the road to Fashola, all green and lush. So I'm wondering, when I hear stuff like we can't feed ourselves,
it's not correct.
I'm asking a question.
Yes.
What is the problem?
Part of the problem is we are still depending on people who farmed the way my grandfather farmed, hoes and cutlasses. How many mechanized farms have you seen in this part of the world? I mean, the kind of production level that we needed, we don't have. So if we can jack up our production, and now you'll be shocked, some of those farm settlements that the late Obafemi were created in the southwest have been sold. Some of them have been converted to housing estates. And so who are the farmers who are farming? That's number one. Number two, what about farm inputs? I don't know whether you know how much a bag of fertilizer goes for now. So I mean, those are issues. And then nobody is farming again.
Interestingly, when you say nobody is farming again, raises a question, because from the AFDB alone, Africa Development Bank alone, I am aware of a significant amount of investments in Nigeria's agricultural space.
What's our population?
No, I'm coming somewhere. So and the SAPZ is just one. Cumulatively, they are looking at $1.5 billion of investment in every state of Nigeria, cumulatively, if not more than that. On the SAPZ alone, Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones, that's just one.
Machinery?
Then there are also several other smaller initiatives like that all over the country, and these are federal government guaranteed state investments from the AFDB. So the question that I'm asking is, when you talk about absence of mechanized farming and all, and we talk about insecurity and all those things, I am aware from that initiative alone, insecurity is dealt with, because it is
just like that.
Yes, because
now, in
each of the zones, the way it is designed, just a second, in each of the zones is all cordoned off. So it's a place you just get in there with your seed and you come back with products.
Those who are actively farming, how many of them have you met? 2 weeks ago, I was with one of them over the weekend, retired from one of these multilateral agencies, almost 70, who went into farming in their old Ibadan, near Ido, you know, when you are coming from Abeokuta, going through before you get to Apata and Co. And the kind of things he shares with me, you'll be shocked. How much does it take to plow an acre now? How much does it take to hire a plow to plow an acre? It's not cheap. The kind of investment farming needs in this part of the world, we are not making that. That's one. And then for that kind of intervention by AFDB, how many farmers will it go around? The CBN under the last government spent so much under the anchor borrowers. I mean, there are cases in court because of that now. So what are we saying? Does the loan get to the fellow who are the real farmers? And when people now say, you can farm in your house, you can do this, fine, you can do that in your area, they forget those of us who are living in Lagos. In fact, do agriculture, good farming in SAC, how long will that take? Children are at home now. If you are a father of children in secondary school, the last 1 week they've been home, you would have seen the consumption pattern rise.
All right, let's talk about politics, because we've just spoken about policy. Now we're talking about politics. The latest that we're hearing now is the expulsion of Malam Nasir El-Rufai who exited the APC to the SDP. And according to the SDP, he's now been expelled for 30 years from the party, accusing him of forgery, self-registration, and destabilizing the party's structure. What do you make of this? The SDP is not a new party.
Ridiculous for me. The ridiculosity of it is in the, how do you expect somebody for 30 years? Did he tell you want to come back? I mean, it's ridiculous. Now, the basic thing in law, and I'm sure lawyers will remember, is that you don't make a law you cannot enforce. Parties are so fluid in Nigeria. It's not based on ideology. It's not based on anything. They are just mere identity cards to be elected into position. We have seen that over and over again. So, and then there are some other reports I read that said he's not actually a member. So if I'm not a member, why are you expelling me? Excuse me.
What do you mean that he's not a member? There
was some report I read like that.
He's been accused of self-registration.
What does that mean? They say he didn't register in his ward. I mean, so what is the offense?
Okay, so if he is not a member of the party, you can't expel him from the party to
you can't do something on, you can't do something on nothing now. And you know, it calls to question the quality of our reportage too. Do we just step back? I mean, why don't we step back and look at it with another pair of lenses that, what does this say? Break it down for people. This is what it means. And then we saw Malame Rufai and what is the name of this new coalition? Is it ADA or ADC? ADC. So what will we do with SDP again?
We're still talking politics. It seems the dust hasn't quite settled on the outcome of the local government elections that took place in Lagos. Some members of the APC in Agege local government area of the state staged a protest in the course of the week. And what their words, they are definitely not just happy with what the
yeah, part of their concern is that they are hungry. They said they hunger, and I said that means they are not in sync with the president in Abuja.
Is that why they rejected the result and staged a protest over perceived irregularities during the internal voting process?
Internal democracy is alien to APC. So why are they crying now?
What do you mean by that?
Good question. Our present governor in Lagos State, how did he emerge?
Are you a member of the APC?
I'm just asking.
I'm asking you.
No, I'm concerned because APC is the government in power in Lagos State where I reside. I'm not.
So how do you know that there was no?
No, we know because you and I know because I'm a reporter. If you have been following APC, there were crises after the local government election or primaries. There were crises. They kept on talking that we will not agree, we will not go agree, we will not go agree. But this is what happened. So why are they crying now? You see, the time you benefited, you did not cry. But because your camp or whatever lost that, now you are crying. Let them sort out themselves.
So we hold no sympathies for them.
Okay, now, if I benefited from you as a colleague, as a friend before, and I didn't announce that outside, the day you now refuse to dance to my dad, and I say, oh, your marking day is bad. Deal with it by yourself. So what are they saying? They said they are hungry. And that was the one I told myself, no, they can't be, because the president said he's doing fine. So how can, if the rest of us are hungry, APC members should not be hungry?
The concern here is that this is grassroots level politics, and we don't need to, argue too much about it. It's something you can also say as well, speak to as well.
Yes.
The fact that Lagos State is pretty much one of the most stable politically, from all the states in the country in terms of evolution of leader after leader and all of that. So if they
because that is tightly controlled.
If they are struggling at this time, it's put into question what we call grassroots level politics, because all politics are local, isn't it?
Now, when you look back, and I study of politics, we've studied political machines globally. There's one called Tammany Hall in New York City. He controlled New York politics for long. There's a daily political machine in Chicago. He controlled that for a long. And so there's a Tinubu political machine in Lagos that is working. He's controlling that. So you either fall in line or you shape out. That's all.
Interesting.
And so when you are beneficiary of that system, you don't complain. And I'm not saying I support the system because I'm not a member of APC. But you now don't come outside and you can't break the Omatha.
Well, Mr. Wale Fatade, thank you so much for your time this morning. As a journalist and commissioning editor of The Conversation Africa. Appreciate your time. When we return, Mapwe has a guest, and we're still talking something pseudo-politics. Stay with us.